10,000 subscribers! Welcome back to Lizard of Doom. I am Max. Now, for 10,000 subscribers, I know we've slightly leapt over that to 11,000, but as things were going to go, I was going to hit 10,000 by the end of the year, so I planned this video for now. 10,000 subscribers. I've spent days putting together 19 hours of royalty-free music for you to game or paint to. Now, this is all themed around factions in Warhammer 40k. Every faction, apart from one, I'll circle back to that in a bit, has their own hour-long playlist that I'm going to upload to YouTube with this video now. So if you're watching this, they're on the channel, so check out the playlists. Every single faction has an hour of uninterrupted vibes for their personal flavour, as seen by your boy. There will be adverts at the start and end of these videos, so that's an hour in the middle with nothing interrupting it. But your boy needs to make his 0.00001 penny per view, so there are ads at either end. So, without further ado, let's get into what these playlists contain. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give my like a little tickle. Thank you. So let's start with the biggest faction for me to get through here. There are 8 videos in this one playlist. This is the Xenos battle music. Number 1 on this playlist is the Necrons, coming in with some heavy, strong dubstep sounds and some kind of mechanical electronic music. This is one of the most obvious playlists to put together, and it is good. That's why it's first on this playlist. After them, we have the Votann. This is more of an interesting flavour for the Votann. So, a little inside joke between me and one of my friends. When they came out, we both wanted to collect them. And we thought about doing rival gangs, so with gang colours and the big Hecaton fortresses as lowriders. So I have gone with a kind of hip-hop, heavy thumping kind of beat for these Votann. So this was actually quite good. I used this to soundtrack a game I had recently. And yeah, it's nice. It's quite pulse pounding, quite steady, like the Votann are space dwarves, really, aren't they? So it's a good monotonous kind of march forward to this rhythm. Next, we have completely the opposite direction, the Drukhari. So the Dark Elder are the emos of the Xenos, really. They have more of a pop-punk nu metal vibe to their hour-long playlist, and I think some of these are really going to be enjoyable. Side note, if you don't like the playlist I've made for your specific faction, like maybe you're a Votann player and you don't like hip-hop music, try another one. Eldari, the opposite side of the Drukhari coin, they have more of an upbeat electronic music feel to them. It was quite nice in a couple of these playlists to make them not so dark and despairing. So this is a bit more inspirational, but while still having that electronic alien music feel to it. Orcs is Orcs. We know what we're getting with Orcs. The Goth Rockers made us a soundtrack, and it is metal. Something to war to here. If you're an Orc player, this is definitely going to suit you. Sit and paint your army to it. Have a lovely game at home to it. Do whatever you will with this music. Tau were an interesting one to soundtrack. They are a bit more of an upbeat faction than many of the other ones, and almost kind of a naive faction. So this is probably the lightest playlist you'll find in here, with some electronic alien-y music, but very kind of hopeful feeling. And I did in fact win my recent game with my Tau with this playlist playing in the background. Now, the Tyranids. How do you soundtrack Gribble monsters? The way I went about this is using the kind of synaptic aspect of the Tyranids. So there's a lot of kind of electronic and staticky kind of feel and ominous creepiness in this soundtrack. And that is contrasted with the Genestealer Cults, which takes 50% of its music from this playlist, and to get the kind of mechanical industrial vibe, I also stripped 50% of the music in that one from my Mechanicus playlist, which is in the Imperial section, which we'll get to in a little bit. Now, these factions that I've produced these playlists for are as denoted by the current Warhammer web store. So when you go on there and you click Armies of the Imperium, that's that list. Xenos, that's that list. So if you're looking for your army specifically, it'll be as of the Games Workshop web store, but with battle music after it. So Imperium battle music, Xenos battle music. That is the Xenos. There is 8 hours of music in this one playlist, but if this is not your speed, let's have a look at something a little more chaotic. For Chaos Space Marines, as the faction that includes the Noise Marines, I have gone with some heavy metal. Now this stuff is similar to the Orc stuff, but there's a bit more kind of like guitar riffs and kind of glamour and noise to it that's not in the heavy kind of repetitive pulse pounding Orc battle music. The first song on this playlist, which is called Shred for the Gods, is actually accidentally the same first song that I've put on the Custodes playlist, which is called Slay for the Emperor. Who'd have thought slaying for the Emperor and shredding for the gods would be very similar? I haven't specifically repeated any songs on purpose, apart from one that is very good for Warhammer, and we'll get to that in the next playlist, which is this one, which is the Butcher's Nails. This is the World Eaters playlist. This song, which is playing over this now, is the one I have repeated. Yeah, that's very Warhammer, and I've included that in, I believe it's in the Mechanicus playlist, and another one, so that's in 3 playlists, but it was very fitting where I put it. Anyway, back to the World Eaters playlist. This is, I'm going for rock because I went for rock with the Chaos Marines playlist. This is more electronic music, kind of think, you know, the Blood Rave from Blade? That's the kind of vibe I went for. When you think of like a blood-soaked soundtrack, I think of kind of heavy club music now because of that film. Next up, we have a kind of more interesting soundtrack, not quite as heavy as a lot of them, The Thousand Suns. They have got a playlist which is kind of heavy on the Egyptian vibe. As I said, this is all from my read of how I feel the factions look and act. There's a lot of sitar music in here, so if that's not your vibe, never mind, move on to the next one. But this is kind of more of like a wonder, generating that wonder, what if, kind of magic-y feeling of the Thousand Suns. So that is for them, and next we have, of course, the Death Guard. This is the kind of hip-hop rap themed list on this playlist. That's the Death Guard. The kind of the slow, plodding, rhythmic, and I kind of tried to make it a little bit haunting, kind of hip-hop beats that are to represent the slow advance. See, the Votan were also kind of like a slow, chunky army, and I feel that this kind of music really gets that through, the slow plodding towards you, never gonna stop vibe. Next we move on to the Chaos Demons. Now of course they are a mix of all of the gods, and then we've seen music from all of the gods so far, the Noise Marines being included in the Chaos Space Marines playlist, so that's the Slanesh. This playlist is in fact split evenly between music from those playlists, so this is a big mix to represent all of the different factions involved. And finally onto the Chaos Knights. Now they share half of their music with the Imperial Knight playlist. I put more, if you're looking for like a cinematic vibe for your fights, you might want to check out the 2 Knight playlists because they've definitely got that more orchestral feel to it. I kind of wanted to make a sense of scale with these 2 playlists. Everything is big and inspirational, but also with the Chaos Knight playlist, it is dark and daunting, which is perfect for the Chaos Knights. That's Chaos wrapped up. Now onto the most popular faction in Warhammer 40k, the Imperium. The Imperium playlist starts off strong with Custodes, another rock playlist very similar to Shredding for the Gods, but not the same. It does start with the same song. You can't imagine a more metal group of soldiers than these gold-clad guys riding giant motorbikes. So this is the kind of rock music that I've used for these. This is again a kind of standard battle rock playlist. Very nice. Following that, we have the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas. This is a kind of dark, religious, hip-hoppy, electronic vibe. I tried to keep, like a little bit of chanting and bits in there. This Music for Martyrs playlist is one of my favourites. It's one of the first I made in this, and it has remained one of my favourites from the get-go. After that, we have the Imperial Knights. Now this playlist is very similar to the Chaos Knight playlist, but instead of the dark, ominous music in amongst the kind of crescendos of orchestras, we have a bit more kind of inspirational, upbeat music. We have kind of like trumpets, and if you listen close enough, you'll hear Ride of the Valkyries at some point in this playlist, and then on to a complete and utter meme. So this is my Cadia Stands playlist. Originally, I started this as a joke. I was going to do one song of like military band music, but then I found the YouTube studio has an extensive collection of military band music, and it started as a joke, but it's actually quite good. I listened to it all while painting the other day, and I like it. Like, if it's not what you want, it's not what you want. I get it. It was a joke to start with, but this is a good playlist. Give it a chance for KDR. And finally, the Adeptus Mechanicus. This is back to electronic music. Less dubsteppy than the Necrons, more industrial, more dark, more drum and bass than that was. This is a strong playlist. This is again one of the first ones I made, and it's remained one of the strong ones throughout. Now you may notice that there is a faction missing, the biggest faction in Warhammer 40k, Space Marines. That is because I want to tackle them separately, chapter by chapter, as per the web store, and do each of them their own hour-long playlist. But I will only be doing this when we hit 20,000 subscribers. So please get subscribing if you aren't already, and I will make that for you. I won't just use the royalty-free music available in the back end of YouTube. There are 150,000 songs in there, but once you untick reggae, happy, R&B, children, and all the kind of like the nice upbeat stuff, that narrows it quite significantly. So I will be renting a service which provides royalty-free music that is not YouTube, so I will find something that has got a lot of good resources for me to make Space Marine playlists at that point. But like I say, 20k subs. How fast can we get there? Thank you to all my lovely Patreons. If you would like to help support the channel, the link is up here now, shablam, and it is also down below. Happy New Year to all of you. I will be back in the new year with more painting videos starting straight away. Will not miss a week. The only time I've missed a week this year is when I was really putting in the effort on the Christmas Kit Bash one. So I will be back on it immediately in the new year. Comment algorithm for the algorithm throne, and leave a like for the like gods. It is not a pile of shame, it is a pile of future fun. See you next time, kids.